Hi everyone, Stuart Hayden here, founder of Storm Beach, specialising in authentic leadership. Today I've got quite a playful vlog for you. It's featuring this and many other pebbles that you'll find here on Storm Beach, and it's a great illustration of a model of change. And I use it quite a lot in my culture work, so culture development. And the culture development stage has three different areas. The first one is about creating some kind of form. Secondly, then transforming that. And thirdly, being formless. Okay, so let's use our good friend the pebble here to start illustrating this. So here is formless. So you're developing, a lot of my work is around coaching culture. So you create form, you create something, a workshop, a network, something on the internet, some kind of resources, a network of coaches, internal or external. You create something, which is great. That's the first process in culture change, and you'll see that all across the beach in a slightly different environment to change. But then you need, if that's step one, then you need to transform that. It needs to change further still. It's not good enough to stick and stay the same as it is. And that's where we've gone. I feel awful doing this because I've just transformed potentially a million years of history in my hand because I had to do a bit of work here to illustrate the transform. So now this stone has transformed. It's different. The culture is now different. It's split off. We have a coaching culture here, we have a leadership culture here, we have coaching, we have mentoring, we have workshop 1, workshop 2, network 1, network 2, one's bigger, one's smaller, different shapes, different sizes, different fields, different departments, different countries, whatever it might be. But the culture now has to change and transform and move on. So you create form, but remember, as soon as you created that, you've got to start thinking about how that has to move on again and how you transform that into a different state. Okay? Then the final aspect of the culture change then is, if I just reach into my pocket for my second prop, is about formless. This is where the culture, in the case coaching, is just everywhere. It's just imperceptible. It's part of the way that people do business. It's with the customers. It's with the managers. It's found on the shop floor, whatever that might be. It's hard to pin down sometimes. Sure, you can still find the pebbles in my pocket, the workshops, the stuff you can touch and feel and say, that's a coaching culture, that's a coaching culture. But also it becomes formless, and you can probably guess my second trick, and that's when that rock simply turns in to sand. That's just rocks, isn't it? Just on a smaller scale. It's everywhere, and that's it. That is the formless. It's everywhere. The sand is part of the beach. It's part of the organisation, found in every different layer on the ground, all different parts, from induction all the way through to the customer experience right at the very end. So that's what I try and do in my work, particularly around change programs, particularly around, therefore, culture change programs. So if it's a coaching culture change program or a leadership change program, it's okay, what can we build? What do we need? What's a habitat? What are the habits for success? Let's build something, let's create form. Okay? And often people are, consultants like myself then leave. But we have to be in a place where either I or the organisation can then transform that and move on, either deliberately, organically, or a bit of both ideally. So it's, on one hand, it's quite scientific, deliberate. On the other hand, it might be a bit more artistic. You just see what happens, what is created, what are people doing, how are they being. But then it has to be formless. It has to be across the whole organisation. It has to be a being, a value that is found, that isn't just not just deliberately rolled out as an initiative. It's there, seamless throughout. So I hope with the aid of a few pebbles and a few grains of sand, that's a good illustration of culture change in particular, but change in general, about form, transform, and formless.